everyone, welcome to another video by Scrapbook Centrale. Well, yes, I have a gorgeous flower here, and this was done with the Spellbinders Shapeabilities. This one is the Floral Burst, and what it does is it cuts and embosses, and it lets you fold some parts of the flower to create this 3D effect. And I'm going to show you all the ones that we have in the store right now. So let me show you what you're going to need for this project. For today's projects, I'm using two different types of pattern papers. They're both by Authentique from the Loyal collection. This one is Faithful and Steady. We'll also be using Spellbinders dies. The first one is the Classic Decorative Insert 6. The Classic Edges 2, as well as our Floral Burst Shapeabilities. You'll need some pearls in varying sizes, 12 inches of vanilla colored ribbon, a paper piercer, some foam adhesives, as well as your die cutting system and your favorite adhesive. In a cream colored cardstock, you'll cut a piece down to 4 1/4 by 11 inches that you'll fold in half. This will be our card base. A piece of 5 inches by 5 inches, a piece of 4 1/8 by 2 1/2. From the Steady pattern paper, you will cut a piece of 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and one of 3 by 3. From the Faithful pattern paper, you will cut a piece of 5 by 5. We'll start by die cutting our pieces, and to find the right recipe for your die cutting system, you just have to refer inside the pamphlet of the Spellbinders dies, and all the recipes are here. I have a big shot system, and what I need to use is the multi-purpose platform, all the tabs down, my die with the ridges up, my piece of pattern paper. This time it is the Faithful, and I'll be placing this face down right on my die, and my 2 cutting plates. I'll pass this through. And I always like to do it twice, just to make sure that all the pieces have been cut properly. Now I need to emboss this piece, so I'm going to put my die again on my multi-purpose platform. I will place 2 10 mats and a piece of cardstock that has been folded in 3. I'm going to place that right over this, and this time I'll use just 1 cutting plates. And again, I'll be rolling this in the machine. And I have my piece here all cut and embossed. You're going to need a second piece out of this large flower from the Floral Burst set with your cream colored cardstock, and you'll also need the medium-sized flower cut out of the Steady pattern paper. So I'll go ahead and die cut those, and then I'll show you how to remove the piece out of the die. Because this is an intricate design, Spellbinders has added those little spots here, and these are where you need to poke with your paper piercer to dislodge your die cut. So I'm just going to go around here and just poke with my tool. So now I've got the outside perimeter done, and I'm going to go inside these little holes here. So as you can see here, it lifted some of that paper. I'm just going to take my paper piercer and very gently loosen up everything, and you have to be real gentle with this. And that, I promise, is the only tricky part of the whole process. So I'm just going to lift this up real gently. And there you have it. It's cut and it's beautifully embossed. Now we need to fold our flower, and as you can see, I've already gone ahead and started that. And for this, you only need to pick up that cut part here and fold it back like so. Make sure that when you fold it, you fold it right up to the edges of that cut. And this step is very important because you'll want to have enough of that raised piece to secure inside of the other part. Take it in my hands like this, push on that folded part at the same time as I push this part up. And as you can see, it's going to tuck right into that flat part here. I'm going to show you again. So I have this piece here, I fold it back and I lift up my plain piece right here. So you're going to go around like this. Look how pretty that is. So we could go a step further, and as you can see here, there are other flaps that you could lift if you wanted to have this flower as a standalone. But what we're going to do is we're going to layer two other flowers right on top of this one, so there's no need to lift up that part. I'm going to take my vanilla flower here, and I'm going to do the exact same thing as I did with this one. As you can see, I'm using another method. I just do the motion in one fell swoop so that it's just faster. There you go. So it's just as beautiful when you do it in a plain color or when you're using a double-sided pattern paper. And now I'm going to do my smaller flower, and it's done basically in the same way. This is fun. This is something I would do, like I would do a whole bunch watching TV. Because once you get the hang of it, it goes pretty fast. All right. How cute! Okay, so I'm going to glue this one down directly on the vanilla flower. So I'm just going to take my adhesive here and just put some in the middle of the flower. And for that, you can line it up with the hole in the middle. They should match up like so. Lovely. And this little guy here, I'm going to pop up in the middle. You'll see I'll be covering the middle with some pearls. Alright, so I'll remove the liner tape, and I'll bring back my big flower and place this on my bigger flower like this. Lovely. And I'm going to decorate my flower with some pearls. And for this, I'm going to use my paper piercer, and I want to put a big one in the middle like so, and I'm going to follow that with smaller ones around. So as you can see, my center is done. I just love it. I think it's cute. I'm going to put bigger ones here in the middle of these petals. And I think I'm going to be putting some tiny ones here at the ends of the vanilla or the cream cardstock. Look at this. Isn't this fun? And look at that, because of the pearls. How precious is that? Oh, I love it. Okay, it's time to do our decorative border, and I have here my piece of 5 by 2.5, and I'm going to be placing the edger die first onto my cardstock, and I just want to line this up to make sure that I have the same amount of ridges on both sides. And I'm probably going to line this up with the top of my paper or my cardstock like so. And it doesn't matter if we're not exactly on the dot, because we cut this down longer than we need to. We're just going to adjust that afterwards. So I have my edger with the ridges down here, and I'm just going to place this little piece here temporarily so it doesn't move when we place our insert. This will fit right into our edger. Maybe just secure this even more. Alright, so now I've got my edger and my insert onto my cardstock. Now this is the good side of the cardstock. We're just going to flip this down so that the ridges are facing us, because that's what Spellbinders recommend for our die cutting machine. And right now we're cutting, so I'm going to be placing both my cutting mats onto my platform, and I'm going to roll this through. And now I want to emboss all of the design, so I'm going to leave my edger and my insert right onto my platform. I'm going to add my 2 tan mats as well as my tri-folded cardstock right over my mats, and this time just one cutting mat. Just be gentle when you remove this from your platform, because you have the removable adhesive. And I'm just going to gently remove this. We've got a beautiful border that's embossed at the same time. We're going to attach our border to our card mat. Now obviously this border is larger than I wanted it to be, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to have enough room to die cut this piece, but we're gonna have to chop that down, and we're gonna have to cut this on the sides as well. I will leave enough room to put my ribbon around this. So I think I'm going to chop off about 1/2 inch of that piece. Yeah, so I'm going to line this up. I'm going to hold it in my hands, and I'll be using my scissors to trim. I don't trim after I've actually glued it down, because we're going to be using some foam squares for this. And I'm going to wrap my ribbon around this first using some adhesive to the back of it. I'm just going to put 2 little pieces there at each end, and I'm going to line up my ribbon like so, flip it over, and wrap the edges around like this. And I'm going to bring back my foam adhesives. I'm going to... Actually, I'm not going to secure this now, and I'll show you why. I'm going to fold my card, crease it with my bone folder. I'm going to glue this piece down right away, because if I have the border that's popped onto this piece, it'll be a lot more difficult to add my adhesive like so. So I always like to work my way from the bottom up. It's just easier. Glue it down like so. Now I can add my border. The flower is going to be double popped. Alright, so our border is down. How pretty is that? We're going to put one here, remove that, put another one directly on top. I think it's just too busy to add a sentiment on top, so I would suggest that you add your sentiment inside the card. I shouldn't have put a double layer on this petal. Why? Because this is going to be nestled right here. So all I need on this bottom petal is 1 layer of foam adhesive. There we go. I love it. I love it. I love it. Look how gorgeous. This was fun to do. I can just see a whole bunch of different colors that I could use and different centers here. You could add rhinestones. You can use perfect pearls. The pearl pens by Viva Decor. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do with this flower. I think this is going to be one of my favorites. So this concludes our tutorial for today. I know last week I told you that I was going to do another glitter video, but this will happen next week. As usual, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!